This is Adam Zern. And so is this. And so is that. And if you're thinking this guy looks like a modern-day version of Indiana Jones, you would be wrong. Because he's actually a modern-day, one-man version of The Goonies. At least he is this year, because Adam Zern is the man behind the yearly Uncharted Lancaster treasure hunt. 2 years ago, in 2023, I made this video about my team's attempt and success at winning the Uncharted Lancaster treasure hunt. Adam Zern did another treasure hunt in 2024, which we did not win, but we managed to snag a second place. I didn't film the 2024 treasure hunt because I thought it might be a little similar to my 2023 video, plus I'm lazy. But in 2025, Adam Zern is back with a Goonies-themed treasure hunt, and I have a new vlogging camera. Which means not only will I be able to film my thoughts about the treasure hunt after the fact, but I should be able to film several parts of the treasure hunt itself and take you on the journey with me. So join me on this 3-part video series where we attempt to find the Globus Cruciger. The treasure hunt took a similar form to several of Adam Zern's treasure hunts in the past. There would be 4 preliminary weeks of information gathering, and then a 5th and final week where you used some of the things that you got from those first 4 weeks to find the final treasure. But for the grand prize, the only week that actually matters is the 5th and final week. The first team to get to the treasure wins the prize. There's also a 2nd and 3rd place prize as well. Adam also did something a little bit different this year. He established a professional tier for anybody who had placed in the top 10 in previous years of the hunt, and then an amateur tier for anybody who that didn't apply to. Amateur teams could still win cash prizes by being the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd team to get to the final treasure, albeit the prizes were a bit smaller than for the professional teams. Overall, I really like this change to the format. I think it's a really cool way to encourage new teams to still try their best to get to the treasure, and to ensure that some new faces and new people are getting the cash prizes, and that it's not just going to some of the same teams every single year. Now, like some of Adam Zern's previous treasure hunts, although the first week of the competition technically began April 12th, the actual treasure hunt really began a little bit before that. The front page of the treasure hunt was published on March 12th of 2025, as was the FAQ and this page of backstory information about Abe Buzzard, who is the central figure of this treasure hunt. Teams were also encouraged to register in advance and purchase their copy of Abe Buzzard's diary, which would be crucial for finding the treasure. We placed our order for our treasure hunting kit, and we soon received in the mail Abe Buzzard's diary, paper-clipped to a note from his son. This diary was crucial to our success. As you will soon see, it played a very important role every single week of the treasure hunt. This is my copy of the treasure hunting book, which has a ton of notes in it about the various things that happened throughout the week, so I'm not going to reveal everything to you just yet. But to give you an idea of the sorts of things that are in this memoir, we have stories from Abe Buzzard's time as a criminal, his attempts to steal various things, his run-ins with the law, and the time that he spent in jail. The journal is also a really good way for Adam to sneak in a few sponsorships, so there's a few pages with things like this for local organizations. And then there's a number of things that I can only describe as extremely puzzly materials, such as this giant wheel of zodiac signs, or this giant wheel of symbols, or this suspicious note that says, "Son, I always carry a flathead screwdriver with me. You should too. Wink, wink." This page is just a grid of numbers, and at the bottom it says, "Some secrets don't like the daylight. Wood's lamp will help you see what's hidden in the dark," which Adam Zern has used Wood's lamp in the past as an indicator that a black light might be necessary. There's also a strange picture in here of 3 coins and a note that says, "Son, always keep 3 quarters in your pocket. Trust me, why do we need 3 quarters? What's going on?" We will discover the answer to all these secrets and more in the weeks of the treasure hunt. But before we get on with the main week's quests, we couldn't help but notice that Adam had some leaderboards for side quests. Side quests 1 and 2, little secret events that Adam has hidden throughout the main materials of the treasure hunt, something to whet our appetite before the main weeks of the treasure hunt begin. One of the first things that we noticed we could work on in the diary as soon as we got it is that right below this grid of suspicious numbers and wingding-like characters is a long strand of just normal wingdings. When we decoded those wingdings, we got a tiny URL link. While that tiny URL link does lead to an Uncharted Lancaster webpage, it is unfortunately password protected. Fortunately, there's one other page of the diary that can help us in finding this password. This particular page is filled with very similar looking money bags, and the note at the top says the triples will lead the way. If you look very closely, you will notice that several of the money bags have very subtle differences, but exactly 3 of them are identical. And if we take the numbers of those 3 bags, 2, 5, and 7, we get our password to unlock this webpage. On this page, we're presented with our next challenge, Side Quest 2B. We again have to find the triples to continue the play. What 3 words will show us the way? Again, we're presented with many similar looking money bags, but as you can see, there are very subtle differences. This coin has a $sign on it, this coin does not. If we again isolate the 3 money bags that are exactly identical, we will see that they are this bag marked with the word wider, this bag marked with the word neuter, and this bag at the very bottom marked with the word crypt. We also have a note that says, on site, look beneath engraved slate, where a paper for you will await. But what site? We realized that Adam had given us the answer right up here where he said, what 3 words? What 3 words is a website that chooses to label various parts of the Earth instead of with latitude and longitude coordinates with 3 words. If we type in the 3 words that we just got from that money bag puzzle, wider, neuter, and crypt, we will see a location come up in Lebanon, Pennsylvania, which is very close to Lancaster. And more importantly, that location is at a JBT bank. You might recognize JBT from the front page of the treasure hunt that I showed a moment ago. They are the primary sponsor for this year's treasure hunt. So we were fairly certain that we had to go to this JBT bank and find, under some engraved slate, a new piece of paper for us. One of my teammates who lived nearby went to this JBT bank and found a flyer underneath an engraved piece of slate that, again, had a bunch of money bags on it. At the top it says, the sum of these final triplets finish this quest. So again, we look through all of the various money bags to find which 3 are similar, except this time, there's 2 different sets of 3 similar money bags, and you have to add up all 6 of those numbers in order to get the final answer. We click on the link once we have the solution, and again, have to type in a password. Adding up all 6 of those numbers gives us the password 275, and typing that in will unlock the final page for Side Quest 2. But I know what you're thinking, that was Side Quest 2, what happened to Side Quest 1? Well, Side Quest 1 was a lot harder for our team to find, but ultimately, going through the materials that Adam posted online, we were able to locate Side Quest 1. Along with the homepage, the leaderboard, and the FAQ, during the initial release of information about the treasure hunt, Adam posted this page of backstory about Abe Buzzard and his journal, and the story that led to the heist that would lead to the treasure hunt we're about to go on. It's a very interesting read, but one of the things that felt a little out of place was this link to the 2023 recovery of several Thaddeus Stevens artifacts. As I was reading through this page, I noticed a bit of a typographical error, it seemed. As we're listing out the things that Thaddeus Stevens is known for, he's a renowned statesman, an abolitionist, and an attorney, I noticed that there was a bit of a large gap here in between these 2 words, statesman and abolitionist. My original thought was that maybe something had been deleted there, like maybe we needed to, for some reason, find another career or title for Thaddeus Stevens that filled in the blank. Highlighting over this space even seems to reveal a bit of an underline, like we're supposed to fill something in there. However, if we zoom in really close, we'll notice that that's actually not an underline at all. That's actually another web link that has been shrunk down and also made invisible. Putting in that link again brings us to an Uncharted Lancaster password-protected page. Fortunately, the password was a lot easier to find than the link to the password-protected page itself. We already had found the password at this point. If you click on the JBT Bank on a Smile logo at the top of any of the Uncharted Lancaster treasure hunt pages, you'll be taken to this page with information about the history of JBT Bank. Scrolling down a little bit, there's information about a lost treasure mystery, and there's this graphic that shows 3 jugs. With some minor photo editing, I was able to overlay the 3 jugs on top of each other, and we see that that reveals the number 84136. Trying that as the password to Side Quest 1A, we find that we are successful in completing the first part of Side Quest 1. Here we are rewarded with a missing page from Abe's journal. This isn't something that was in the journal we were mailed. This is something that you can only obtain by getting to this web page. The passage describes a canal and a railroad along the Susquehanna. It talks about the town of Marietta, and we're given a few other key figures, including Bob Kinsley. We're told that Abe Buzzard and his gang roosted atop this high ground, and they would look down at the town of Marietta for days at a time. Then we're shown this picture and told that the sum will unlock the way forward. We had to figure out what this passage was referring to, and then go hiking to discover what this sum was that we needed to find. A little bit of searching near the town of Marietta eventually led us to discover this location called, appropriately, Buzzard's Roost. What's more, it's located in the Robert A. Kinsley Nature Preserve. So there are plenty of hints in this page that lead us to Buzzard's Roost, and so we decided to make a trip there and see if we could identify what this is a picture of. All right, we are getting ready to start out on our very first quest for the treasure today. But before we could make it to Robert A. Kinsley's Nature Preserve, we had another pit stop that we had to make. All right, we've made it to our first destination on the treasure hunt. It is a Sheetz gas station. Where are the mac and cheese bites? They're preparing my order now. Thank you so much. We got our food. Time to go. With our yummy gas station food in hand, we decided it was time to continue on to our main quest, finding the Robert A. Kinsley Nature Preserve. All right, we've made it to Robert A. Kinsley Nature Preserve. It's just a brisk 1 mile hike up to Buzzard's Roost. This is a good time to introduce you to the rest of my treasure hunting team. This is my brother Nick, this is his wife Ashley, and these are my parents. They don't like to be in the videos, so for all intents and purposes, I was given birth to by two amorphous blobs. Ooh. Oh, we've reached our first hazard. Water. As we hiked up the trail, I tried to get as much footage as I could, so enjoy this fast forward of us hiking down the trail on our way to Buzzard's Roost. We're coming right on up to Buzzard's Roost. There it is right over there, I think. There's kind of a tree at the edge and a downed tree right in front of it. Yeah, I think it is directly in front of us. Right there, tree, downed log, we'll see. Question is, do we really have to climb down over this edge? I'm climbing down over the edge. I found it. It's right here. Let me see if I can get it on. 846 feet, 258 meters, the height of Buzzard's Roost. So we were rewarded with this plaque that we had hiked all this way for, and as the webpage said, we had to add up these two numbers in order to get the final password. Adding 846 feet to 258 meters, which hurts to do a little bit as a physicist. You don't usually want to mix units like that. But doing that, you get the password 1104. Entering that into the password page tells us that we have successfully completed side quest 1B. I took the opportunity to get a view of the town of Marietta, just like Abe Buzzard himself would have seen if he and his gang were roosting up here. And I marked this as a successful end to our side quests. With the successful completion of the side quests, we waited until April 12th for the first week of the treasure hunt to officially begin. But to our surprise, before the hunt began on April 12th, on Monday, April 7th, we received our first of what would become several Monday missives. The Monday missive is an email that went out to participants of the treasure hunt. Anybody who had registered a team on Adam's list received this Monday missive. And this was a way to get kind of a jump start on the weekend's activities. Typically, if we had to go visit a business that had limited business hours, that would be included in the Monday missive so that we actually had a week of business hours to go visit the establishment prior to the weekly event starting on April 12th. In this particular Monday missive, Abe Buzzard describes in another page from his memoir a call and response system that he used with various members of his gang in jail. One thing that they would call out is, "I've lost my marbles," and the response, so that you know you're talking to somebody from your gang, is, "Did you check the wishing well?" At the bottom of this page it says, "I have a contact holding something important. You'll need it to complete the quest. The following 3 words will tell you where to go." And this is where completing the side quests in advance of the treasure hunt was particularly helpful because we knew about what 3 words and we were primed to think about it from one of the side quests. This time, those 3 words, debates, liquids, frosted, leads to a place in Clay, Pennsylvania, which again isn't far from Lancaster. And if we click on the location, we see we are again at a JBT bank. So before we started our week 1 activities, we had one member of our team go to this JBT bank and say to a teller who was in the know about what was going on, "I think I've lost my marbles," and the teller would respond, "Did you check the wishing well?" After the call and response was complete, the teller gave us a manila envelope that had in it several marbles, as well as a replica of this coin from the Goonies. This was a 3D printed doubloon which had holes in it, just like the one in the Goonies. With our doubloon in hand, we were officially ready to start week 1 on April 12th. We explored the page of information that had been released with the first week of the treasure hunt, and we found this series of musical notes. I looked up a staff of music notation to check what the specific notes were that corresponded to the solfege that was listed on the puzzle page, and it turns out that those notes matched these notes that are printed on the backside of Abe Buzzard's memoir. So this la, ti, mi, do, la, I think is just the same as the notes that are on there. I don't think it's anything new. We were told on this page that we needed to use the medallion that we had picked up at the JBT bank earlier that week, and we had to line a specific note up with one of the holes so that 3 notes would appear in all 3 holes. Here's the video of us doing this in real time and figuring out which 3 notes were inside the holes. We figured out the password here was the music notes B, C, and D, so we entered those in. Doing this gave us another page of Abe's journal with a particular focus on signs of the zodiac. Remember that wheel that I showed you in the journal about zodiac signs? That's about to be important. There was also this portion of the page which talked about a great surveyor in Lancaster history and how Abe Buzzard had placed some particular star signs in the window of this surveyor's house. A quick Google search for historic Lancaster surveyors will bring up Andrew Ellicott, and Andrew Ellicott's house is actually in downtown Lancaster. So we decided to make our way down to this historic building and see if we could locate any star signs in these windows. We are both fortunate and unlucky that week 1 of the treasure hunt turns out to have been the only week of the treasure hunt where it was raining. So rather than risking damaging my brand new vlogging camera, I decided that I would use my phone to record the week 1 footage. So apologies that there's a bit of an audio and visual drop in quality for these particular pieces of footage. We made our way to Andrew Ellicott's house and located these star signs that were indeed in the window. The image of the window on the webpage showed us some cracks on specific panes, so we used the marked panes that are in the window on the webpage, as well as the zodiac signs that were in the window in real life, as well as that zodiac wheel that also assigns every zodiac sign to a number in our diary to get the 5-digit password for this page. Once we had done that, we got this page from Abe Buzzard's memoir, and we had to find, again, some zodiac signs in this particular image to get us the password for the next part. Finding those hidden zodiac signs throughout here didn't prove to be too challenging for us. There were things like this one here, just hidden throughout this picture, and then when we got that 5-digit combination, we were able to unlock part 1C. The page that we discovered after typing in that password had another page of the memoir, and it said that Abe Buzzard enjoyed exploring the Welsh Mountain. There is actually another nature preserve in Lancaster County called the Welsh Mountain Nature Preserve. This page of Abe's memoir gives us a trail map as well as 4 particular locations of interest that we had to discover along the way. The trail map very closely matches this one that can be found online for the Welsh Mountain Nature Preserve, and so we decided that we would go there and look for these 4 particular locations of interest. But first, we had to make a pit stop. Now that my tummy was no longer rumbling, we made our way to the Welsh Mountain Nature Preserve. We found this trail map not too far from the trailhead, and I was pretty confident with my ability to map out where we were going, but some people in my family had other ideas of what the right routes would be to go in. But eventually we figured out where we were going and made our way to the first of the 4 marked locations on Abe Buzzard's map. Our first marker should be somewhere around here. Was the sign blue or was the sign red?
The sign is red.
The sign's red and the blaze is red. It took a little searching around, but eventually we found this metal placard that had a large rectangular box and one symbol in it. So we determined that we needed to find probably all 4 symbols that would fill this box by going to the 4 locations. To give you an idea of our pathing here, we pretty much entered from the parking lot and hiked pretty much the entirety of the blue trail counterclockwise. So you just saw us get this X on the red trail sign, and now we are on our way to the next X that should be on either this yellow or blue trail sign, depending on what in this picture houses the marker. This particular placard gave us a little bit of trouble in finding, but eventually we discovered that while the last plaque had been behind the trail sign, this one was somewhere else. Oh, what a sneaky guy. It's not behind the signs this time, it's underneath.
Under where?
After finding that second marker, we made our way all the way around the rest of the blue trail until it overlapped with the orange trail. Alright, we found the orange trail. There should be something on this tree with a blue sign and an orange blaze. There it is. With the third marker found, we only had 1 more to go, so we had to make our way to the very tip of the blue trail and then down this white trail a little bit. This time the image on Abe Buzzard's map showed some sort of trail sign, so we knew we were looking for something like that. Time to hike down the white trail. Let's see if we can find this particular plaque.
Yeah, that's the
Focus. Come on. There it is. Once again, before leaving, I decided to take in the view and the amazing area that Adam had decided to show us right in our own backyard. By putting all the symbols together, we had 2 star signs as well as 2 letters. Converting the star signs into numbers again, just like we had been all week, gave us the final password of 5K3H. Typing that into the webpage tells you that you have successfully completed week 1 of the treasure hunt, and you are ready to log your progress on the leaderboard before beginning in on week 2. After our long hike at the Welsh Mountains, we were all a little bit peckish, so we grabbed some ice cream at a local creamery. With week 1 behind us, we were on our way to finding Abe Buzzard's hidden treasure. Join me again in the next video where I will talk about weeks 2 and 3 of this treasure hunt, and then join me one more time for the grand finale where I will talk about week 4 and everything that happened in week 5. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm still trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2025, so if you liked this video and you want to see more puzzle content, please consider subscribing. It would help me out a lot. Of course, thanks to Adam Zern for putting on this treasure hunt, and thanks to my teammates for going on this journey with me. Until next time, I hope that everybody has a great day, and as always, happy escaping!